Start. Hey, Ev.
Hi.
I tried catching you off guard. Welcome to Generation Viewpoint. I hope everybody's doing well out there. Did I catch you off guard, Ev?
Yeah, I was just drinking some delicious Coke.
I saw you lift up the cup, and I just thought I'd jump on you and just see if I could catch you to blink or something. So, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm tired.
You know, it's one of those days.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, and I walked into the studio, and I'm like, oh boy, I better start doing jumping jacks or something because
you said we had to wrestle.
I did say we have to wrestle. Well, I was thinking the idea was that if we wrestled, we would get the adrenaline going and then have an increased energy level so that, for everybody who's out there listening and watching, they would have that full energy that we always bring to the table.
But see, you were thinking of the adrenaline, but you weren't thinking of... We would get adrenaline.
Yes.
But then by the time we were done, you'd be on the ground dying, and I'd be...
Oh, my word.
Above
Wait a
you
minute. Are
with
you
my
challenging me right
foot
here?
on your chest.
F. You know that I outweigh you by about 60 pounds. So
You literally just lay on top of me, and then I have to muscle my way out. And I always do.
Listen, you do what you got to do to win. Short of pulling hair and scratching.
Oh, boy.
Okay?
I'm going to have to start doing push-ups and pull-ups, and then I'm going to take you down.
You know what? I told your brother yesterday, Zach. I told him, I said, if Evan weighed my weight, he'd kick my butt right now in wrestling. But I outweigh him by 60, so I still got you.
The first time we went at it, I beat you.
Whatever.
I did.
You did.
You can't deny that. I got more points than you did.
Ev, points maybe. But you have not beaten me yet in wrestling. Let me ask you, now there's an interesting question.
Okay.
So let's say that you and I were wrestling, father, son, or wrestling. And for everybody out there, imagine for the guys, imagine a time if you did or think of wrestling your father, right? And if we were wrestling and you beat me in wrestling.
Which has happened.
And it hasn't happened, okay? Let's say that it did, though. Let's say that you legitimately pinned me and beat me in wrestling.
Okay.
Okay? All right. When that happened, what do you feel? When you stand up, how do you feel right then? One, about you, and two, about me.
I feel good about myself, but then feel bad that I beat up an old man.
You feel bad that you beat up an old man. That's very nice. I would imagine that... I can only imagine that if I wrestled my father and beat him, that I would feel like I had, I've peaked the mountain. You know what I mean? I'm hiking a mountain and now I've reached the summit. Ta-da! I am a man now because I have beat my father. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I'd be like, oh, where do I go from here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't you think that that should be one of those challenges that just you try but you never accomplish? Your father can always out wrestle you.
I don't know, because when you think about it in another context, like golf.
Okay.
When I first started golfing, my goal was to beat you.
Right.
And then I beat you.
Yep.
And now I beat you a few other times after that.
Yes.
And now I still want to go back and beat you because it's just enjoyable to win.
You won't this year, but that's nice.
I probably won't. I went outside the other day to hit some golf balls, and I had my pitching wedge.
Yeah.
And they all shot straight in front of me instead of that way.
Oh. Well, that's not good.
They were straight, but just the wrong way.
Oh, man. So I don't know. I think it's different, though. I think, I think that you beating me in golf would be different than you beating me in wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a question, I guess. So
yeah.
But anyways, I don't know where we're going on this episode because we're both in this little bit of a fog. Yeah. And so I got a question for you.
Okay.
Birkenstock. Do you know what that is?
No.
Generation divide right there, man. You don't really know what a Birkenstock. Have you ever heard that word before? Birkenstock.
It sounds like a vegetable.
It's not a vegetable. Birkenstock is actually like a leather sandal. It would be like what Jesus wore, kind of a thing.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Well, but not really. Not so long ago, they got really, really popular. Like hippies wore Birkenstocks and kind of thing.
So
more than hippies.
So Bestafar wore them.
You're going to have to ask Bestafar that question. I don't know if he ever had a pair of Birkenstocks or not. Maybe. Yeah. Who knows? So All right, so I have a real deal question.
I thought that was a real deal.
I know, but this is a real deal question. Okay. So does keeping, I guess, at home in your room or for people out in the workplace, right? Do people with messy rooms and messy desks at work, are they more creative or less creative, do you think? What's your idea on that?
I don't know. I mean, my room used to be extremely messy, but then I got it all clean.
Yeah.
But then whenever I'm doing something creative, it gets messy.
Right. Okay.
But then I just clean it back up because I like how clean my room is.
So are you saying that a messy room is a sign of a creative person versus it being
Not always
just an environment of a creative?
Because a clean room just means someone took the time to do that. Like they weren't lazy.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think a dirty room or desk or something doesn't really mean that they are creative. It just means that they might be lazy.
Okay.
So, but if it's regularly clean, but then it gets messy,
Yeah.
it might mean that they're creative because they're doing something creative for it.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, back in 2013, they did a little research thing, and this is by no means a huge research project. But they did do a research project, and they brought people in and tested their creativity, which I have no idea how they did that. But they knew whether they were very organized or kept a messy room and a workplace. And what they found were people that have messy rooms and messy desks were overall more creative. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So I guess it's going along with when you say that when you're in the middle of a creative process, your room gets messy.
Yeah.
Right? Not dirty. We're talking about messy, not dirty. Okay. So it gets messy. Maybe that's kind of maybe it is a sign. So I wonder then, should a college who's an art school, should part of their resume process be like, hey, send us a picture of your room? Because they'll know if they're creative or not.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I see where it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. So let's stay on that for a moment.
Okay.
Okay. How important is it to have a clean house? In light of what we were just talking about, okay? How important is it that your house is clean and organized? So you're going to be out on your own, right, at some point, and you're going to have your own place.
Yep.
And what's your thought on that? Is it an important thing or it just doesn't matter?
I don't know if it's necessarily important.
Okay.
I think it's more preference. Because if you asked me last year, I didn't care if someone saw my mess.
Yeah.
And it just didn't mean anything to me. But this year, I like my room to be clean.
Okay.
And whenever someone comes over and they're going to be in my room, I make sure to clean up everything and I put my laundry in the laundry room. I don't even keep it in my room so they see my dirty hamper.
Yeah.
I like my room clean for other people now.
Right.
So when I move out and have my own place, I'm definitely going to keep that clean.
Okay.
Just because that's my preference.
Right.
But I don't know if it really is important.
All right, so let me ask you this question. That's your preference, but it's not important. So let me ask you how you would react to this future scenario. All right, and for a lot of guys out there, you might be able to identify this, and of course, women, because sometimes you're on the other side of this. So let's say that you are married and you've got a couple children, and your wife stays at home and she's taking care of the children and raising them up, right? Which is awesome. And you are out working, and you come home at the end of a long day's work, and you come home and you walk in the door, and the house is like always cluttered and messy. Right? Now, does that matter now? Or it still doesn't matter?
Well, again, to me, it would bother me because I like it clean.
Right.
But it does to someone else, it just might not mean anything.
Okay. All right.
So
what if it didn't mean anything to your wife? Then you would have to adapt how you felt and be like, it doesn't matter to me then either.
I can also see myself if my friend...
This is getting real serious, man.
If it's my kid's mess and it's a bunch of toys,
yep.
I can... Whenever I see a pile of toys just everywhere, I don't. My first thought isn't to clean them up. My first thought is to play with them.
Oh, so this would encourage you to join your kids on the floor and make a mess.
Yes.
You know, the funny thing is I bring up that scenario because long time ago when you were little and you and your brothers and sisters would be playing and you'd get into the container cabinet and the pots and pans drawer and your toys and they'd be all over the house and I'd come home after work and I'd be tired and mentally drained from work and I would walk in and your stuff would be everywhere. And I would be like, really? Like there's not one simple place I could sit down where there's not stuff scattered all over. It took me a while to get used to the idea that, you know what, you guys were having a great day. That's what that was.
Yeah.
You know, and you were being creative and you were having fun and stuff like that. I was being, sometimes when you get tired, you get in those selfish moments when you're thinking about a messy house or whatever.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Interesting.
Gotcha.
So you think it's not that important then? All right.
Yeah.
All right, Ev, we got to find something to get you some more energy. So let's say Okay.
Okay.
Should parents let their children play football in light of all of the stuff that's on the news lately about all these football players with serious brain injuries, right? And concussions and things like that. Mm-hmm. Should parents allow their kids to still play football like they do?
Yes.
Explain. Yes, isn't it? You gotta go more than yes.
I don't know. It's just something kids do. It's just playing.
Okay. Even though there's violent collisions.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just instigating. I'm not saying my opinion right now. I'm instigating conversation. Mm-hmm. So even though there's violent collisions, there's injuries, chance of concussion when the brain is still forming itself, right? So it's more sensitive than it is when they're a grown adult.
Yeah.
Right? With all those things in mind, you still think that parents should allow their kids to play football if they choose so?
Yeah.
At any age?
Yeah.
Wow. You are going to be an easy parent then. I think it's debated. Now, I me personally, listen, you're a parent and they're your children and you have the freedom to do what you want. And I would probably let my kids play football. So there's my opinion, right? But on the other hand, I do get concerned a little bit about when you see all these things going on. You know, I guess to track with that and to another level is, you know, in the NFL, you see people going out and they want to play. They're in high school and they're getting hit and they know people get concussions. They go to college, they know people get concussions and get hurt. They get in the NFL, they know people get concussions and get hurt. Mm-hmm. But they do it because they want to play the game and they know there's a chance of injury and they want a payday.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden they're getting a payday and they're like, hey, you got NFL or somebody else is responsible for me getting a concussion. I guess that doesn't make much sense to me. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right?
But, I mean, if that's what they want to do, why hold them back?
Yeah.
It's like holding them back from playing basketball because they might break their wrist or something.
Right. No, I agree. But I think that if you're going to go and allow yourself to play football, one of your parents, if you're going to allow your kids, and then you, if you're a player, are going to go and play, then you can't hold somebody else responsible for you getting a concussion. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, because it was your choice and you're the one that's doing that.
Okay.
So you shouldn't blame someone else for your decision.
Okay. I agree with that. So what would you say then when people would say that the organizer of a sport is responsible for making the sport safe to play? Is there a responsibility on the overriding or the overseeing organization to make it a safe environment for play?
I mean, they have made it as safe as they can without ruining the game.
Okay.
Because they give pads, they give helmets, and then there's certain rules where you can't hit someone, like you can't rough the passer and rough the kicker, like you can't do that.
Right.
So, I mean, they've gone far enough to keep it as safe as possible, but then after that, it's just up to you.
Yeah. Okay. No, I hear you. I agree with what you're saying. So I absolutely do. So I don't know, man. We had a lot of random stuff here in this episode. I think this is going to be one of our shorter episodes. I think we both should go take a nap.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel bad for everybody who is listening right now because they're like, boy, those guys are very cash. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe we should run around the block or do something exciting. You know what I mean? So I'm sure that everybody out there can relate, though, where you have one of those days when it's just like, man alive, where'd all my energy go, right? And that's us today. So, all right. So I got one final question, Ev.
All right.
All right. Andy Rooney.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. He says that he has learned that we should be glad God doesn't give us everything we ask for. Be glad that God doesn't give us everything we ask for. So the question I have for you is, can you relate to that? And if so, why?
I guess I can.
Okay.
It's just not a usual thought,
Okay.
I guess, because, I mean, I want what I want,
Right.
and then the things I don't get, I'll be upset about, or I'll still want.
So why?
then-
So I guess it's. I mean, it takes some real thought on that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why? Can you think of something in your life that you've asked for that you didn't get? You know, you prayed about and wanted, and God didn't give it to you, and you're glad that He did it.
Yeah.
You know, like I think those things are sometimes they're hard to come up with. You know.
Yeah.
So, but I think there's a lot of truth in it, though, because he definitely knows more than we do about what we need.
Yeah.
And we ask for things in a selfish way.
Yep.
And sometimes it's just to bridge a gap or a temporary blip so that we don't grow, because in turmoil or in like trees with the wind blowing is where they get their strength, you know?
Yeah.
And so we would never get our strength. But
Yeah.
anyways, all right. Well, that's another episode all wrapped up. And I sure hope that we can bring some more energy for the next time that we get in front of these people here.
Yeah.
And bring it like we always do. So,
Yeah.
so we thank you for putting up with our very ho-hum attitude today. And we apologize for it for sure. So, but we'll be back and we'll be feeling great. And in the meanwhile, I hope you guys all have a fantastic week.
See ya. Remember, we're on iTunes and Stitcher. And as always, thanks for being awesome.